Alright, this is where we left off last time. We created a tie and a suit jacket and a collar, and earlier on we made the head. So let's take a look at making the hair. So I'm going to hit Shift and A and just quickly grab a cube. I'm going to hit Control and 2 to smooth that out. Right click and do Shade Smoothed. Then hit S to scale this down. And what I want to do is, here, let me scale this down a bit more. I want to use the this face here. So let me go to edit mode so you can see this side face to represent the part in the hair. So I'm just lining it up this way, like this. And then where the center of the head is, I'm going to just sort of treat that as like my halfway point, extrude all the way down to a point, and then just wrap that all the way around the head until we get to the side, and then we'll create the part pretty much the same way. So maybe this needs to be pushed in a little bit more because he's got a pretty deep inset part. So with this selected, go ahead and press E and then just move forward. And then once we reach this edge here, so it's from one edge to the other of this, I'm looking at this line here. I want to press E again and pulling this down. And then if you hold Shift and Spacebar, it brings up your marking menu option. So let me go ahead and hit T to hide that to give us some more space. And I'm going to select Rotate from here. And then on my axis here, essentially my Y-axis, I'm just going to move that down like this. Just wrapping around that, hitting E again, bringing that down. Let's hit G, rotating that a bit more. And I'm going to scale this down to sort of a point, and then hit G here. So we've kind of got this. Now, I'm envisioning it that it does go out and behind the ear, right? So let's go ahead and grab our Move tool. Oops. So something like this. And I'm going to hit Control and R so that I get a little bit more control over the tip of the hair there. And maybe that's too long, but we can always play with, shaping it like this. Let's make sure I can get both of these guys. And if you're having difficulty grabbing both of these points at the same time, you want to hit Alt and Z so you go to X-ray mode and you grab all of them. So that's looking pretty good. Let's rotate this a little bit more. Alright, now I'm going to go to face mode and select these faces. And I'm going to hit E, and I'm just going to extrude those back all the way leading up just to where this edge is here. This one right here. And the reason why I'm not continuing these down is because I kind of want them to be separate strands, and I want an ear to come out of here. So let's go ahead and just block that out really quick, our ear. So I'm going to go to Object Mode, select my head. Now another thing, notice I can click on this, but if say this was in Edit mode, right? And I want to select this, it doesn't allow me to, right? So what you can do is if you Control and left click, you can select that way and then go to Edit mode on this guy. Another way to do it is, I think if you, let's see, I know there's a hotkey where you can kind of jump between them, but let's go back to object mode here, and there's a way to bring up the marking menu for the different objects. It escapes me at the moment, so anyway, I'll bring that up in the next video if I remember, but let's go ahead and finish off the back of the head. So I'm going to go ahead and hit tab and go to face mode. So let's go to edit, select these two faces here, hit E to extrude, and then I'm going to pull this down. Now what I'm going to do with this is I'm not going to rotate this. I'm actually just going to select these bottom faces. So this face and this face, and just hit E and bring this down, something like this. I'm going to hit S and Z and flatten that out. So something like this. I don't like my verts to not be nice and smooth or average, so I'm going to grab all these guys and just shift them up so they're in line with this. So so now we're starting to get our hair. And what's nice about keeping it low poly like this is we can grab all of these verts at the same time and we can adjust how high we want this hair to be. All right. Now, like I mentioned before, for this face here, do the same thing. Hit E, extrude down, S, Z, flatten that out. And let's just kind of just bring this in. I might go ahead and weld these together, these two clumps. Oops. But that would be something I'm going to take a look at later. Or you know what, let's take a look at that now. Let's see how this sort of works. So I'm going to turn off visibility on this and just say, look at the placement of these vertices here. And what I have essentially is I can delete these faces in here, right? So I'll hit 3 that make up these two chunks. So X, and then select face. And I'm going to hit 1, and I can actually just, let's make sure that these are a little bit smoother here too. Select these two verts here, right click, merge vertices, and then I can just do at center. And then I will add one more loop here, so Control R, shift that up, select these two verts, and then right click, merge vertices at center. And then for these down here, what I can do is hit Shift R to redo last action. Now if I turn this on, you can see we've got pretty good stuff. These ones right here that you're seeing poke through are actually they're the verts on the inside of the head, right? So if I select these guys, this is the inside masking area. Just kind of pull that in a little bit. And in all honesty, I'm probably going to hide everything and delete all of the faces. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here, let's go to object mode here so I can show you. Since these faces are never seen, right? There we go. I can actually select these inside faces, like these here. Delete those. Same thing with these guys that were poking through. Save myself some polygons, and when I turn this back on, and I unhide everything. Alt H to unhide everything. You can see you're not going to see those anyway. And then what's cool about this is if you have the hair selected, you can go in here and just tweak the shape a little bit more, right? Like I want the hair to be more rounded. And remember, we're kind of going for a low poly character, and we are going to do a little bit of vertex removal and cleanup and stuff. But for now, this is pretty good for the side of the hair here. And it gives us something to manage and edit. As for the ears, like I was saying before, I got a little sidetracked. If I select the head here, go to edit mode, what I'd like to do is look at this shape a little bit. This section here, so say my eye line is about here, right? It's lined up to about that area. I like to, like I mentioned in the drawing tutorials, I like to make my ears a little bit cuter. And the way to do that is you place your ears, if you watch any of the Disney movies or any of that good stuff, they place the ears below the eye line, and that gives more of a peaceful tone. Actually, let me pause the video and bring up one of those images, for example. So I just started getting really into Disney Plus. So here's kind of like an inadvertent advertisement for them because I love Disney. But if you look at every single one of these characters, like this cute little girl's ear, notice where her ear placement is in relation to the eyes. Same thing here. And they didn't necessarily invent this technique. This has been around like forever, you know. And so, you know, just so that's something to just pay attention to, right? Is even in their warrior characters, you know. All right, so let's get back to finishing up our model. All right, so for the ear here, I'm going to go ahead and select this side face here. And really what I should do is we can be a little bit less stingy with our loops. I'm going to straighten out this loop here. I'm hitting S and Z. And we're going to compartmentalize the ear here. And we can, I mean, if we want to further structure this further, add a loop there and then really compartmentalize where we like our ear to be. So I'm going to place it, so since our eye line is here, I'm just going to place it here and then shift it downward. So something like this. And all I'm going to do is flatten out that face a little bit. And then hit E to extrude. And then E again as I pull this out. So click. So something like this. It doesn't look like that second extrusion happened for me, so I'm just going to throw that loop in and then pull that in. And there's our ear. And then all you have to do is go to edge mode, just play with that shape a little bit like this, and then pull this down. Push this really in so that my character retains that same shape. Now to save on geometry, instead of having to add another edge up here, is I can just select the top two verts here and just scale those in. And that'll give me more of a pinch at the top of my ear. Same thing here, I'm going to grab this edge and move that up and pinch it so that I get more of that roundness that we get in for that Disney-esque ear. Now remember, this is a first character, so the thing I'm actually going a little bit above the amount of modeling. So if you're struggling just a tiny bit with this, it's probably a good thing, right? Let's go ahead and move this because the way you know you're learning is if you're stressed. So I'm moving that ear back, and then I'm just going to select this edge by alt clicking on it and just sort of move that in line. So what I'm trying to do is create a nice cute curvature to the ear like this that comes out. All right. All right, let's add in, and all of this stuff, notice I'm sort of going a little bit off model here. Let me just really quickly, I know we're getting a little long, but let me I'm going to knock out just the side clump of hair here. So same thing as before, object mode. I'm going to shift right click here to put my 3D origin on the side of his head, shift A, mesh cube, and then what I would like to do is I'm going to make the size like 0.5. And what happens is if I click again and I click down here and I hit shift A and I go to cube, it'll remember those settings. So I should have been doing that a long time ago so I wouldn't have to keep scaling down as much, but scaling really doesn't do anything. So I'm going to move this here, Control and 2. Come on. Oh, looks like I jumped to the other collection. There we go. There we go. Right click, shade smooth. And in all honesty, we really could just go 1 on this. Doesn't have to be, same thing with this guy up here. We really could just go 1. It doesn't have to be that intense. And scaling this down, positioning it. Let's get it lined up with the model a little bit. So it should be up here. Same thing with this clump of hair. It really should be up there. So let's edit this one. You know, I actually like it down there. Let me see. I kind of like that part being way down here. So let's just move this one down. Something like this. Go to face mode. And as I mentioned, like this is okay. It's totally okay for you when you're creating your own characters to sort of tweak it. And that's the whole point behind like us not coming out with a completely finished character right away. Is we want to tweak and think about our character and talk about narrative of our character, like their story, and that starts to come out as we continuously work on our model. All right, so I'm gonna bring that up all the way to that line in the back here, and then actually I might just center out this edge a little bit. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, cool, excellent. And then let's hit E one more time. Just bring that back here. And then what I can do here is extrude these two faces down. Just flatten those out, S and Z. Move them off to the side a little bit. And then select this face here. And then bring that down. I'm just going to hit G to free move this. And then let's just shift these edges in a bit more. And actually, you know, now that I think about it, I'm going to undo that whole extrusion. My guy's hair loops way down here, so I'll just go to vertex mode. Select these two verts and shift it down like this so that it comes down and then it just sort of falls around behind the ear like this. And if I need to, I can throw another loop here. Grab these two verts at the bottom. And just keep shaping that hair. So there we are. We've got the hair. We've got a nice suit jacket or nice jacket, tie, collar. The ears are looking pretty good. I also maybe I'll make a whole nother series after this on how to make a mid-level poly character, like how I would model in the ears and stuff. But like I said, I'm gonna paint the eyes on, the eyebrows. We'll make a mustache. That'd be kind of a cool. That'll, you know. I think that's good for this video. So yeah, the next one we'll continue on modeling. Hopefully, I'll do a quick, maybe 2 more videos, and we'll be done with the model. We could start rigging.